Hello, it's Chris from My Stamp Lady, and I'm here with the Snowflake Showcase. This is a limited time offer from Stampin' Up, and I'm going to show you 3 of the products today. So I have the Snow is Glistening stamp set, and this is what I'm going to use in my tutorial today. And then the Snowfall Thinlits dies. It comes with all of these dies. You have 2 sheets of them. I have added the magnet sheets to my cardboard inserts so that I can hold the metal dies in place. But when you purchase it, both of these sheets with all of these dies come in this envelope. So you get some gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous dies to create snowflake cards and more. So they do even have some leaves here, and there's a couple that look a little more like flowers and a background, and that this is available during the month of November or until supplies are out, and this is 2018, so if you're watching this later. And then this is the other stamp set, Happiness Surrounds, that is also available, which also coordinates with many of these dies. Okay, so here's a couple of samples that I've made with the Happiness Surrounds. I'm not going to show you this in the tutorial today, but I've done, this has the Hello Friend from the Happiness Surrounds, and the background is this image right here, and in the center is this image. So this is how I created the background, is with those 2 images, and just repeatedly stamped that, and then the Hello Friend. And then the rest of the snowflake, or there's only one more, is from that snowflake set. And then this card is not at all snowflake, and it has, you can see this main focal image here, and then in the Mango Melody I have the smaller flower. This is a piece of the Toil and Trouble Halloween paper, so it's a little piece of the designer paper just to use to put on there, and then of course the leaves here. So that's the Happiness Surrounds. I'm not showing you how to make a card with that today, but I am going to show you this fabulous and gorgeous snowflake card with lots of glimmer, and this is using image from 2 images from the Snow is Glistening, this one here, and then Sending a Blizzard of Wishes for a Wonderful Season. And then I'm also using, let's see, I'm going to pull them right now. I have those 2 snowflakes, and then from this other card I have this outside. So I have those 3 dies that I'll be using today to create this card. And I have all of my paper cut, and it's ready to go, and I will have the sizes and all the supplies I used on my blog at mystamplady.com. So this is a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and this is a piece of the Sizzix adhesive sheets, and these are also in our catalog. And I'm going to use this to put to the back of my Whisper White paper so that I can glue down that snowflake onto my glimmer paper. So I've removed the one side, and now this is very sticky. And so I'm going to just place this down on the back, and I want to do this before I die cut. You want to do it before you die cut, so you can die cut both of those and it lines up nice and easy. This can just go in the garbage. So I now have basically created a sticker sheet here. This has the adhesive on the back side and then the Whisper White on the other side. A little bit of silver glimmer paper, and I have a piece of Whisper White. This is the Balmy Blue. Thick Whisper White is my card base, 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored at 5.5 inches. Love, love, love the thick Whisper White cardstock for my card bases. It gives a really nice weight to my cards. So I'm going to start with the Balmy Blue piece, and this is 4 by 5 1/4 inches. I've put a Stampin' Pierce pad underneath because my stamps are photopolymer, which means there's no rubber in between the image and the block. So that Stampin' Pierce pad gives me a little cushion, and you will get a better image. So I'm taking my embossing buddy, and I'm going over the top part of my cardstock here because I'm going to do some heat embossing with my Whisper White embossing powder. So you need a nice sticky ink with that. Here's my little falling snowflakes image, and I'm using the Versamark, my favorite ink to use for embossing. And we'll use that in Versamark. And the reason I put that powder onto my paper first is so that my embossing powder will not stick to where I don't want it to stick. So I've got 2 images there. Now I'm going to pull in a little coffee filter to catch my excess embossing powder. Sprinkle this over. If you've never done heat embossing, it's almost magical to watch. Flick off any extra powder, and then I can put this powder back into my container. Now I need to heat set this. So I'm going to warm up my heat tool. And holding it in place, not waving it all over, I'm going to start heating. And you'll notice that it starts to melt as it heats. It almost looks magical and turns into that raised white image that I'm looking for. So I finished one end, and now I'm going to do the other end, and then we'll just repeat those steps. The embossing buddy that will prevent the Whisper White powder from sticking where I do not want it to stick. And then let's just stamp this twice. And I'll be honest with you, I'm doing this, when I do it on camera, it doesn't work quite as well as when I do it in person, because I would put my head right over the top of that, make sure I'm lining it up well, and I'm kind of doing it a little off from an angle when I'm doing it on camera. Okay, so let's sprinkle that with the powder. And there we go. Oh, I think I rubbed it a little bit when I was flipping it, so add a little more back on there, flick off extra, and put back into my container. I like to try to cover my container as soon as possible because I don't want it spilled. And we'll heat set. Okay, so now you can see how I have that snow falling and on the bottom and on the top. Now I'm going to pull in my magnetic platform for my Big Shot. And I have my bigger piece of Whisper White cardstock. I'm going to place that large die there. And then I have the smaller one, and this one has the sticker sheet on the back. And let's place that smaller snowflake there. And then I have a piece of the silver glimmer paper. And this is that outline piece that I'm going to use. And I'm going to run this through my Big Shot. I might actually run it through a couple of times just because some of those areas are really close together. And when you run it through a couple of times, it gives a little better cut. So let's pull that back through. And then we will take out our pieces. This one should have cut very nice and easily because it doesn't have anything extra to it. And there is my snowflakes. I'm going to pop out all those little extra die cut pieces. I find it easier sometimes to try to pop those out before I've removed it from the die. It kind of holds the part you don't want popped out in place. One more left there. And this does have that sticker sheet on the back, so it does make it, some of those small pieces might not come out quite as easily. Okay, let's get rid of all the extra pieces here. And my favorite, I love using the cheap toothbrush because I like to be able to just kind of push these out of the way. Okay, so I have my card base, and let's put down my adhesive on here. Nothing is going in between. And, you know, I like to use quite a bit to hold that down. And because this is the snail adhesive, it looks like it's folded a little better this way, I am going to turn it over and give it a nice good rubbing from the back side so I don't get anything on the front. And that helps that snail get a nice good bond with the cardstock front. Okay, so there's that piece. Now let's put down that snowflake. Putting some adhesive onto it over here over my silicone mat. Let's put that down. I had thought when I was designing this card that I would put down a sentiment on here, but when I got done and I got to the point of where I thought, and I tried adding a sentiment in a few places, and I just couldn't get it to work right, and I thought it just looked so beautiful like it was that I just left it as a regular snowflake front. So now this piece has the backing, the adhesive on it, and you could do that with this large one also. You could put that Sizzix sheet on the back side there, and then you wouldn't have to worry about putting any other type of adhesive down. Okay, so you can see how it's coming. I've got that glimmer. And then to finish off the front of the card, I took one of the largest rhinestones from the Rhinestone Jewels and just set that right in the center. I do like this large snowflake because, as you can tell from my sheet here, the large ones tend to be the last ones I use, and I'm finally using up a whole bunch of those large rhinestones with these larger snowflakes. And that is my entire front. It is gorgeous. It's got the embossing on the front. It's got the glimmer paper, the silver glimmer paper underneath. So then this is where I am using the sentiment, and I'm going to use a little bit of the tuxedo black. You could also get the balmy blue if you want to tie the front into the inside, but I did decide to use the tuxedo black, and I'm just stamping "Sending a Blizzard of Wishes for a Wonderful Person," because I couldn't find a good way to fit it on the front, so I did put it to the inside. And that is your Snow is Glistening with the Snowfall Thinlits dies and a beautiful winter card. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me, Chris, at mystamplady.com. All the supplies are available in my online store at shopwithmystamplady.com. And I hope you enjoy the Snow is Glistening.